What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on into the PWTorch Fireside Chat for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. What's going on, everybody out there? I am PWTorch Assistant Editor Zach Haydorn. Super pumped to be here. Super pumped that you're here with me. And if it's your first time kind of checking out our preview shows, I'll give you kind of the rundown of how the week goes, okay? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are live. Monday, we're previewing Raw. Tuesday, we're previewing NXT. Wednesday, Dynamite, our flagship show, the Fireside Chat with myself and Tyler Sage on Thursday. And Friday, we are previewing SmackDown. So we're live every day. Yesterday was Monday Night Raw. And I got to say, I was right. I was right about Austin Theory. Was I not? Didn't I say that's if you're going to have him lose the title, or not the title, but lose the briefcase, the Money in the Bank briefcase, the way that he did, he had to have some kind of like oomph or shot in the arm coming out of that. And last night on Raw, they gave that to him. I thought Theory looked like $1 million with kind of the new, more aggressive gimmick, the more serious tone, the I'm not a kid anymore stuff like that. I think that was powerful stuff. I think that worked very well. And so thank you, Azad. I appreciate that. Blind squirrel. Uh-oh, Steven. I feel like I'm in for some kind of comment or I missed something or something. But lay it on me, brother. Thanks for being here, Steven. Thanks for being here, Azan. Everybody else, very much appreciate it. You can check out the Raw preview if you want to see everything else that I was right on. No, I'm just kidding. But you can check out the show though. Anyway, I just posted my weekly Raw column on PWTorch.com, so you can read me gloating about Austin Theory as well. I certainly appreciate it. If you're not checking out PWTorch.com on a regular basis, well, you should be. It's a great stop for news. It's a great stop for just kind of show reports. Sean Radican has a big show report up for New Japan. He's got a big article up right now on the situation with Progress Wrestling and everything in between. Oh, okay, good. I thought I was in for something that like, oh God, was it something I said yesterday, Stephen? Was it something I said? But needless to say, NXT is tonight, and it is a big show. It is one of the bigger NXT episodes in quite some time, and is on good on you to point that out, because it really is. There's a lot happening on this show, and I think there's a couple things that I'm thinking as I look through the card tonight and what's announced. And the first thing that hits me, I don't know if this hits you guys, but there was, of course, some promotion of this on Raw. What's up, Sean? Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. There was some promotion of this show on Raw last night, but man, not enough. Like, to me, if you are gonna trot out all this talent, and list the talent on the show tonight, you've got the NXT Women's Championship on the line. So you have Mandy Rose, top challenger Alba Fire. You've got Bron Breakker on the show, defending the title. Shawn Michaels is going to be on the show. You're going to have a contract signing with Wesley and Carmelo Hayes. Like, it's like some of the bigger NXT names, and not just big NXT names, but just big names in general. I mean, Shawn Michaels is on the show. So I think Paul Levesque, like, he should try to figure out a way to get some more promotion on Raw, where you have an audience that's 3 times the size of NXT watching. So, like, if someone hears, oh, Shawn Michaels is going to be on the show, like, maybe put a little bit more juice on that, not just like a promo graphic. Like, that's bare minimum. That's bare minimum stuff. But if it's me, I'm giving like a much bigger push. Especially for a show like today, like maybe not every week, where you're going to trot out storylines on Raw or just do a little bit more in-depth promotion with hype packages and video promos, etc. But on shows like this, I absolutely would be. And the other thing that stands out is that this is just a pretty big show. Like, you've got 2 title matches, you've got Shawn Michaels, and I mean, they have to give it some love. And it's not even like I think it's just good business. Like, even like if you love NXT, or if whatever, you're a big Von Wagner fan, like Sean is. Just kidding, Sean. It doesn't matter. It's good business to promote this show. And again, I almost think you don't want to promote heavily every single week. I think there's a time and a place for just regular kind of commercial promotion. But in a week like this, where so much is going on and so much of your NXT talent is on the show, as I said, Breakker, Rose, Hayes, that's like the trifecta of top tier talent. Like, I would call attention to that. So there you have it. Rant over. But the show's not over, though. Let's preview tonight's episode of NXT. And it starts with a rematch for the NXT Women's Championship. We've got Mandy Rose defending the title against Alba Fire in a last woman standing match. So this should be pretty interesting. I am someone that has been higher on or real quick, backwards, I want to get into the chat here. Yes, like some kind of interview from Bron, right? And even if like he's not on Raw, like a This Week in NXT segment, for example, I think could work, and then just have Bron cut a promo on Von Wagner, and then you go from there. But it's stuff like that, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, back to Mandy Rose and Alba Fire. So I've been a bit higher on Mandy Rose. She's not going to be she's never going to be somebody that is going to have, classic in-ring matches like Sasha Banks, or for example. I don't think she's as athletic in the ring like Charlotte Flair is, for example, right? Or like Asuka or somebody like that. She has her own kind of style, and she's much more of a character pro wrestler than she is like an in-ring worker, And I think that's going to hold her back a little bit, because you have to be able to go in the ring in 2022. At the same time, though, like, because she's a character wrestler, first and foremost, she is somebody that's a valuable asset to Paul Levesque in terms of being able to own TV time. Like, she can do comedy segments, she can do backstage vignettes, she can do weird like FaceTime promo things with Toxic Attraction. Like, she is a jack of all trades as far as that goes. So where she lacks pretty severely from an in-ring perspective, and even from a promo perspective, she makes up for it being, a character that you can plug into a lot of different spots. She's kind of like, I don't know, she's kind of Miz-esque as far as that goes. Like, not great in the ring, but boy, you can trust her with a lot of content. And I think she's gotten a lot better as a wrestler too, and so that helps her. Still not great, still a long way to go, but I think there's value for her on the WWE main roster. I think she's proven that in NXT. I mean, think about all that she's done just in this Alba Fire feud. I mean, she's done some weird haunted house stuff. She's had serious matches. She's had serious promos. Like, yeah, that's true, Azan. You got me on that one. The Miz is a good promo for sure. But I would challenge that he's good. He's a good promo. He can talk, but like, he's not spewing like tip top guy stuff when he does. Like, he's carrying this Dexter Lumis thing, right? But is he putting butts in seats? I don't think so. And that's where neither is Mandy Rose, but she can talk well in a different way, Ms. S. But yeah, he is better on the mic, no question. So you've got, this rematch here, and Alba Fire. It's kind of a tough situation with her, because I think she's a very talented act, and she proved to be a really good wrestler in NXT UK. The thing is, I don't know yet what her place is going to be in NXT or the main roster. And so the only way that I think she wins this match is if Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction are on the way to the main roster. Like that's the only way. And so if that's the case, then I think you could reasonably put the title on her. But there is an opportunity to put the title on somebody else that I think you get a lot more mileage out of than Alba Fire, and that's Roxanne Perez. Like when I look at the NXT Women's Championship picture, and if you're going to take the belt off of Mandy Rose, the woman to put it on is Roxanne and not Alba Fire, because Roxanne just has such a bigger upside. I mean, she's younger. She, needs a little bit more seasoning in NXT. She's somebody that can carry the NXT brand. And Alba Fire can do all of those things, but it's kind of like she's kind of like Brandy Rose. She's kind of like a made talent as far as where she is and what she's developed. Whereas Roxanne, I think, has such a higher upside, where Alba Fire can just be on the main roster, and I think she would fit in just fine. Like I think that whole act, the whole Alba Fire act, and the video stuff and the fire, kind of theme, all plays really well. And I just I don't know. Yeah, Sean. I mean, it's a tough situation. It almost feels like, and I think and we'll find this out to be true, that Alba Fire is kind of like she's there right now to make Mandy Rose. I mean, like that. Unfortunately, I think that's where we're at, and so because of that, Mandy's the priority, and I think Mandy Rose is going to. She's going to get the shine, and I mean, when it's all said and done, right or wrong, I think Mandy Rose is getting another win, which means that Alba Fire is doing a job twice in a row. So it happens. But Sean, I'm with you. Like, it's not good for Alba Fire. At the same time, I don't know that it totally takes her off course for what she's going to end up being in WWE either. Okay. We also have Apollo Crews challenging JD McDonough. Okay, real quick. Yes, we're talking in the chat here about Nikita Lyons. I wouldn't, Rin. I mean, I really, really wouldn't. I think one of the things, like, I'm not a big believer in Nikita Lyons right now today. I think she's somebody that has a presence about her for sure. I think she has a confidence about her for sure. I think she's somebody that you can look at, a year from now and go, okay, like maybe she could be somebody. But right now, she's out there really, going through the steps. You know what I mean? Like she looks like she's going, okay, I say this all the time, like I'm on a step here, and then I have this move that I have to do, and then I have to do this pose, and then I'm going to do my little, fight thing in the middle of the ring for my entrance. It's like she's playing professional wrestler right now, and if you think she has any upside at all or any reasonable avenue to becoming something in WWE, like, I don't think you want this title on her for a long, long time. Like, you want her to get seasoning. You want her to get experience so that when she has the title, she's ready for it. And right now she's just not at the moment. So, okay, but we have Crews versus JD McDonough. Yeah, someone said it's basically a number one contendership match. Is on a good point. I think it is. To that end, I think, like, I don't know what you do with JD McDonough at this point. Like, he's lost his title matches. He's just kind of there now, right? I mean, if you're going to do a job to Apollo Crews, which it seems like they're going, I mean, I don't think JD McDonough is going to get another title shot against Bron Breakker. So this to me feels like an Apollo Crews job. And then what? And then where do you go if you're JD McDonough? So if you're a McDonough fan for whatever reason, I don't think he's in a very strong place right now. I think Crews takes this, and then you build to that match with Breakker, which they've teased for quite some time. So it's not totally out of the blue to see them do that match, but nonetheless, I think that's where they go. I think it's either way. It's a bit of a cold, a cold title scene. Like, you've got talent that I think are around NXT that are just not in the title picture, that should be. Carmelo Hayes, I know he's in the North American title picture and he's got the thing with Wesley. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, that's a big NXT title match. Bron Breakker versus Carmelo Hayes. I think Grayson Waller is another person that I think could have a good program with Bron Breakker for the NXT Championship. And he hasn't been around it either. It's kind of like, they're subbing in other types of talent instead of like the true faces of NXT 2.0. And so, I don't know what that means. Like, it could mean that they're just trying to protect everybody, but I think you want to see what Bron Breakker and what Carmelo Hayes and what Grayson Waller and those guys, what they have in a big time feud. Like, I think you gotta try to figure that out. Okay, let's keep it going here. Let's talk Wesley and Carmelo Hayes. Booker T is going to do an in-ring segment, so that should be entertaining in and of itself. Boy, oh boy, I'm looking forward to this. I think Wesley has come such a long way since being just completely derailed. As far as Sean, you are cracking me up, my friend. Sean Radican, PWTorch columnist, has entered the chat, folks. They can throw this whole brand into a cannon and launch it into the sun for all I care. Boy, talk about coming in hot with a stinging commentary on NXT. It's black and gold now, Sean. It's still black and gold, my friend. That's hilarious. Oh gosh. Okay, Radican, you got me thrown off here. Wesley and Carmelo Hayes. Wesley's come a long way since kind of losing his tag team partner, lost his way for a bit there, and I think he's gained some of that momentum back, a good chunk of that momentum back, I'd say. And a feud with Carmelo Hayes is like a top thing that you can do in NXT at this time, right? Like, it just is. You got the Bron Breakker title stuff, and then after that, it's Carmelo Hayes, And so this is a good spot for Wesley. The question is, who comes out of this the winner? And like, I'm not sure we're here to preview that match tonight, more so this segment. And I think it's important for this segment to convince the audience that you want that either guy can win. Like, I think Wesley, the way his last title match was, or not title match, but when he won the North American Championship, it seemed like it was a bit of a fluke, and it wasn't. It was presented that way, like kind of like this miracle win. He said he would do it, nobody believed him, and now he's got the victory, right? I think this promo here, you want Wesley to come across as a credible champion, right? Or at least an avenue to that. And I think a lot of the heavy lift on that is going to be on the shoulders of Carmelo Hayes. Like you have to, as the heel, set Wesley up, and you've got to feed him you need to feed him something that he can sink his teeth into and that the audience will get behind. Carmelo Hayes is so strong on the microphone and such a cool character that he can overshadow, I think, a weaker babyface at this point in time. And you really have to be careful to do that, because a lot of what makes Wesley stand out is kind of his sympathetic nature. And if you squash that, you're really extinguishing all the heat that you have and all the drama you have on this match. So it's important that they walk out of this thing both as credible champions ahead of their match. No, this is good stuff. I'm glad. I mean, Sean, you and I've talked before about like NXT and the story, the lack of, like, I don't know, I'd call it like storyline depth, because there has been good matches unquestionably. But if you look back through that time, I think there's maybe one or two kind of key stories, that you can think of. And that's like after, like, the kind of the NXT quote unquote, I don't know, heyday of 2014, 2015, when it was kind of like this niche product. But when you get into more of like mainstream NXT, and I don't necessarily even mean the TV deal, but it's like you had the stuff with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. You had all the storylines with Undisputed Era. And then, I think it's tough to name them after that. So, Sean, I don't think you're wrong. And it's interesting to, like, see what kind of effect that perception has had on somebody like you, Sean, that I think would be watching NXT on a regular basis if the stories were a bit better. Okay. Also tonight, they're promoting Shawn Michaels to be on the show to quote unquote lay the groundwork for the NXT Deadline show. We don't know what that means. What does the groundwork mean? I don't know. Will we know? We'll find out soon enough. But there's not much to preview there. NXT Deadline is the December, I believe it's December PLE for NXT. So we will get detail on that. And finally, in the main event, or what I think will be the main event, I guess it could be Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire. Bron Breakker against Von Wagner for the NXT Championship. Guys, like, Von Wagner, holy moly. I mean, that guy, he just sucks the energy out of a room. There's no natural charisma there whatsoever. Period. End of story. Like, I know that you can make the argument of, like, okay, well, Bron Breakker just needs to roll through these guys. We want to present him as a credible champion, whether he's going to do something big on the main roster when he gets up there, or if he's just going to hold the NXT banner for a while. This match makes sense, but it's not going to be a good one. I think we saw in their kind of encounter last week that, like, they don't have chemistry together, and I think it's an interesting situation, because Von Wagner is somebody that you can definitely put Breakker over on easily. But think about everybody that Bron Breakker's worked with so far as champion NXT. He's worked with Tommaso Ciampa. He's worked with Tyler Bate. He's worked with JD McDonough. He's worked, and then, with some other folks as well. But, like, heavily protected in terms of who is across the ring from him to make him look as best as possible. And that's smart. That's smart business. That is 100% what should be happening. You want to protect your stars like that. But Von Wagner is not somebody that is going to help protect Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker is going to have to stand on his own within this match and carry his own weight, because Von Wagner is just behind the 8-ball in terms of everything. He can be a little bit aggressive in the ring, and I think that helps him. But there's a really faint connection between what he does in the ring and his character and his actual personality. Like, it's all very disconnected at this point in time. So this match worries me a bit. I think right, Azan, exactly. Bron should not carry Von in any situation. Bron and Von, like, agreed. That's a tough ask. Now, the good news is I think a lot of the audience just feels like I do about Von Wagner and just wants him off the television screen as quickly as possible. I mean, because of that, you should have an audience that's aligned alongside Bron Breakker, I would imagine. I don't know that for sure, but that'd be my guess. And so that's good that he's going to have the crowd on his side. Something that I think hurts him at times is because you have him in the ring with Tommaso Ciampa, and people, they like Ciampa, or they have him in the ring with JD McDonough, where there's a history there. Here, it's clean. This is clean babyface and heel. And that will be the one thing that helps Bron Breakker here. I don't know. My gut tells me this is not going to be a good match. And for that reason, maybe you do want to put it on early in the show and have the women main event. But Bron Breakker wins this thing. Like, if I was a betting man, I would be very comfortable putting my money on Bron Breakker. So that's the show. It's a good one. It's a big one. Sean Radican, give it a chance, and we want to see what you. It's not a bad idea, Steve. Like, it's really not. Like, squash him and really make Bron Breakker look like $1 million. That's the goal anyway. And I don't think that Von Wagner has this huge upside to take advantage of. So, outside of the fact that he's really big, squash him. I agree. I like it. Sean Radican, if you're still out there, we want to hear your thoughts on this show, my friend. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We'll be live tweeting the show. I'll have my weekly NXT column up on PWTorch.com tomorrow. You can follow along with the NXT guys tonight on PWTorch.com, and you can catch them on the PWTorch Daily Cast about 30 minutes after the show for a live podcast talking about the show and running everything down. Thanks to everybody for being here. Sean, Steven, Azan, Sean Radican, Rin, and everybody else. Thank you so much. Tune back in tomorrow, same time, same place, for an AEW Dynamite preview. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you next time.